Everybody, welcome to a new episode of Walk in Faith. I'm excited to be sitting down with Antonio Sabato Jr. to discuss his latest film, Breaking Shadows, but also to discuss the importance of creating faith-based films and the power of building relationships with Jesus Christ. So it's interesting, I was watching one of your interviews, right? And you spoke about, I forgot if it was like an Easter interview, and you were talking about when you win an award, and hopefully it will be soon, that when you get up there, you want to, first thing to do is glorify God. And when you said that, I'm telling you, I was nominated for 5 Emmys, and every time I had this little note just waiting to get up there and to glorify God. And to your point, if you think about all of the older films, the first thing they would do is glorify God, right? And now they're glorifying the makeup artist, the Uber driver, all of these people, and God isn't even, recognized. And Matthew McConaughey, you probably know the story, when he
Yeah,
got up and gave his speech, it
yeah,
was
I saw it.
silent,
Yeah.
silent, right? He said, I prayed with you. I was there. And all of a sudden now, when I glorify God, it's like, so just from your experience, what has happened? What has changed? And I want to just congratulate you because it's people like you that are creating these films that are really, I don't want to say fighting back, but really giving us a voice.
Well, I just think God deserves the best, and He deserves the best movies, and God is bigger than everything. So we just got to keep fighting for Him. But everything I do for Jesus Christ. People talk about God and all that, but which God is really that God? What kind of God you're talking about? The only God for me is through Jesus Christ. So that's first and foremost, is to thank Him that I'm still here and doing what I love to do, and I also want to keep making films for him, and for our country, and for good morals and good films that just people are motivated by, and good entertainment, good motion pictures, just like Disney makes, just like all these studio movies make, and that's what I've been working really hard for many, many years, to create a studio, to create a place where you can make films that support American values, support Jesus, support all those things that just make you a better person. And on top of that, they're made very, very well. And that's what I'm fighting for. And the first films that I've made so far, the last two films I made, are really well made movies. Grace by Night. It's on Prime right now. You can rent it. You can buy it on Prime. It's called Grace by Night. It's one of the best movies I ever made, but it's just one of the best films out there, and well made all across the board. And then the next one coming out is 426. First kind of horror Christian type of film, R rated, for a different kind of crowd. I mean, we need to reach out and bring movies, viewers from all kinds of aspects of life, and God wants us to make great films, great entertainment. But the core value of those films is God itself, Himself, and with the values of family and patriotic things, and having a core heart, strong values that take you from here to the end of the world, and they make you a better person. And that's why I think it's important to have nowadays. And that's why I'm fighting for it. And I think there's a lot of people out there, and I'm coming across, that are willing to work with me and work with our production companies, and continue making films that are just going to take you places. And so we just want to stay our own way and make our own films. And like I said, if we're going to make films about Christ, with Christ involved and God involved, they have to be well made.
Mhm.
And also, my films, I don't want to just go to the Christian film festivals and all this. I want to go to
Right.
Hollywood. I
Yeah.
want to go to the Academy Awards. I want to go to the Globes. And I want to get up there, and I want to have actors go up there and say, I want to thank Jesus Christ for this Globe. I want to thank Jesus Christ for this Oscar. And it's not so much, people say, well, who cares? But I care. So I want to make it happen. And also, ultimately, like I said, I want to make films that are well made
You
and A plus.
You said so many things. It's first of all, when you said about when they, let's just say that people glorify God. I mean, the other day I was getting so upset in the car, and the guy's like talking about the universe. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, we're talking about Jesus Christ. Like, I don't know what God you're referring to, but we're referring to Jesus Christ, my Lord, my Savior. And I agree. I've created a lot of faith-based content. I'm telling you, I'm not proud of it. The budgets were so low, the creation wasn't great, and I was never really proud of what I created. It was like it wasn't glorifying God. And I've done films like you where they're not the typical Christian or Catholic films. They're films that are attracting a different audience. There are films that are made for people that, that are theologically based, and that's fine. But for me, especially, my core message was bringing people to Christ. And one of the films, like I mentioned, Omerta, it was a mafia film, a religious mafia film. But I did one recently on boxing, and I know you love boxing too. And Paulie are mutual friends in the film. And I
Yeah.
said, I want someone that is not going to watch a typical Christian film, but wants to watch boxing. And all of a sudden, the message is clear. And I'm like, oh my God, I just watched a film about world champion boxing. And I was drawn into this because the message was clear. And like you, I want to get on that stage, and I want to glorify God. And I want them to play the music, and I want to be and say that I'm only here because of my faith in Jesus Christ, and God is using me in my platform. And we need to really create that conversation. So, dude, I am totally with you. Totally with you.
And it's also so difficult to make a good film. So I think there's just the majority of Christian movies are not at the level that I think they should be, and they should be a lot better in every sense of the word. But it's also the Christian community that wants these scripts that are just not realistic. They're badly written. They proclaim Christian as being perfect, and Christian characters can't say this or can't say
Mhm.
that. No, no, they say a lot of bad stuff. That's what we sin all the time. We got to make movies, and that's why Grace by Night was a perfect avenue, my film, to start this new genre of films that really are truthful and honest and shot really amazingly with a great story and morals, but also as Christians, these characters, fail. They fail constantly, and they have to make up for that, and they have to, you know, be forgiven, and but also they're not perfect, and God did not created us to be, to live a perfect life. We have to have grief, we have to have turmoil, and we have to overcome it with the grace of God. So I don't know. I think we need to do better, and also we need to get to Hollywood, and to get there, you got to give them something that they can't say no to it. Because when a good film is made well, it doesn't matter who or what or where. You just want to watch it, and so we're making films that anyone can see, and continue to watch. When you make films, they don't go away; they stay with you for the rest of forever. So we want to make good products for God, but ultimately products that everyone can see.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, too, in the old days, right? Like we're so old, but Hollywood made a lot of religious films, and they did extremely well. And I think Hollywood they'll come over because not because they believe in the message, because it's financial gain, right? It's a business. So, I mean, for us too, we create films, and it's very hard to get high end. We have a $47 million movie now we're pitching to Hollywood. It's extremely hard. Because like you said, the message, even though the message is great, it's very
Well, it's
challenging.
hard to make good movies because people don't know how to make good movies. It's very difficult. People think they know how, but the majority, they make thousands of movies a year, and you only probably watch 5% of it.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? And so all the other films that exist, where do they go? What happens? And it's because they're badly made. And when something is good, like I said, you would watch Grace by Night, for example. I'm very proud of it because, like I said, it's very hard to make a good film that people watch over and over again. And Grace by Night was, I made a lot of films, but it's a team effort. Everybody has to come together, and the way it's put together, the way it's edited, the music, the acting, the scenes, the script, the way it was shot. There's just so many things. So to do a movie like Grace by Night and work it out, that came out so good, you want to keep making films like that. You want to make film, and it's very difficult. Not only that, but also you want to make your money back. You want to be able to pay your people that got involved, your financing, and your investors, and all that stuff. So it's a tricky business, but ultimately, if you're willing to take a risk and make good films, because the Christian community doesn't want these films that you know, for example, I'm making this film right now, Breaking Shadows, that talks about a dark place, very dark place, and a person in a human's life where she went from being molested to prostitution at a young age, drugs, addiction, and so forth, right? When you deal with that, you need to showcase the film the way it's supposed to, realistically. And you're going to have profanity. It's going to be an R-rated movie. It's going to deal with, and then she got from the darkness into the light and found Christ, this character by the name of Gene Davis, who we're working with. The movie's about her. And Joy Villa is going to play her. But when you go there, you got to make it really. And I want, I'm directing this. We have a trailer out that's, it's moving people. People love this trailer. People talking about it. People are sharing it. It's going everywhere. It's going viral. So it's amazing. So I want to make the film. But the Christian community, some of them are like, well, you can't
Hmm.
show this. You can't show this. You can't. I'm going to make an artistic, beautiful picture, not grotesque in any way. It's going to be very beautiful and artistic and moving, but it's going to showcase and it's going to have some verbal that people might not like, but that's the world we live in. And
Yeah.
sometimes you have to go to the darkness to come out and bring something that is real that people can relate to. So, and it's going to be very poetic and it's going to be very moving. And even the trailer itself, you can see what kind of film that will be. So I want to make films that are real. And sometimes we want to, and then Christians have to chill out. They have to chill out. They have to appreciate when good stuff is made, and to go to the next level. Uh, we just cannot keep making these characters in the Christian community that are perfect, written. The scripts are written very badly,
No,
and it's
you're
just a lot of stuff.
totally right. Totally. And like you said earlier, a lot of the people that are against these films, I guarantee if I went in their queue on Netflix, they're watching films and TV shows that are exactly what we're making.
And you're showcasing the darkness. You got to be willing to go there, and you got to be willing to go there with an open mind to see. Um, what the darkness is all about. And especially when you're talking about, but like I said, I'm going to do it with class. I'm doing it with class. I'm doing it for Christ. Um, and it's going to be R rated. That's what we have. We have our rating system for that reason. When you're an adult, you can deal with it in a much better way than this is not a film for the young ones, but this is a movie that's going to move the world. And it's hopefully, and what's what the goal is to help a lot of children and anyone involved in that world to get away with it in a safely manner, and to live and to save people's lives, and to get people away from um, all that darkness that's going on with prostitution, child trafficking, and it gets even worse. So, but we have an individual, like I said, Gene Davis, a hero, an angel, who was able to escape that world with Christ, and has an amazing life, is an amazing mother, and is helping a lot of anyone in that world. And I don't want to say from children to adults, because that world it's anyone goes. So, but
And
we
that's
want to clean up. We want to clean up the world, right? And so to clean up the world, you got to make something spectacular, and that's what we're trying to do.
and that business, I mean, you're referring to trafficking, sex trafficking,
Yeah,
trafficking.
sex trafficking, and
We've visited and we've interviewed a lot of people that, have been through, have been trafficked. But tell
yeah,
me a little bit, and people that don't understand the size of this business and how many countries and how many people it affects. I mean, I know on your website you have a lot of information, but if you could
yeah.
just explain how big this business is.
Well, Gene Davis wrote a book called Breaking Shadows, and we're making a movie about that. She knows more than anyone about child trafficking, and it's a worldwide business. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. America has a lot to do with it. They've lost 600,000 of children. I don't know, some number like that. They really don't know the exact number, but it's thousands, hundreds of thousands of children being trafficked, from boys and girls, teenagers, adults, you name it. It's a dark world, and they're trafficked. They're used in every way, uh, for slavery, for sex, you name it. Drugs, addiction, prostitution, and it just goes in the most darkest. And I have researched this with the law enforcement, with people in that world, people that told me that of the things they see, the things that is being recorded, and yeah, so it's an evil place, but we need to showcase it in the most profound way, and people have to see what's really going on.
And how can people get involved or find out more about this film?
Breakingshadows.com. Go to my Instagram page and all, or Joy Villa, or Gene Davis on Instagram or Facebook. They have a donation site to donate for this movie. We appreciate all the donation. We just started this maybe less than 2 weeks ago, and we've been getting a lot of donations from everywhere, and it's been fascinating. All the churches want to get involved. They want this movie to be filmed and to be shown to the world. So yeah, they can help like that, but also just being aware that and know that movies like Grace by Night, to share that. And 426 is coming out, so when that's out, to share that. Hopefully, we're getting theatrical release, so we're hoping for a good weekend or a good week or a couple of weeks in the theaters. That will be enough to generate a lot of attention. I think 426 will be one of its kind. So we're working really hard. We're making progress this year, which is good.
That's great. Yeah, and listen, I wish you success. I mean, I know Sound of Freedom, I mean, there were so many obstacles that they overcame. And as that film was being ready to be released, and even when it was released, I know Alejandro very well, and the film,
Yeah,
they ran into so many problems. And then afterwards, there was so much, it was like the enemy, whether it's Hollywood or the enemy, was doing whatever it can to not get that message out. But that message
yeah, yeah,
was released, and it's powerful, and it needs to be told. And the film you're working on currently, those messages need to be told. And we
yeah.
need to be able to talk about it, and like the title of the film, like it needs to be released from these shadows so people understand that it's happening everywhere, in your town, in your small town, in your city. It's
It's
happening.
happening everywhere, and it's happening everywhere all over the world, and it's happening around the corner. People don't even know about it, and how it's done, and how they enslave these children at a very young age, and we need to protect them, and we need to do more. And I think by doing films like this, by working together, we're going to get some kids off the streets uh, and into the light, and that's what they deserve.
I agree. Well, Antonio, thank you so much, and
Thank you.
we will watch your films, and we'll support
Thanks.
your upcoming film, because I know how hard it is, and like we said, it's very hard, especially when you're telling stories and doing the work for God, or as
Yeah.
God works through you. So God bless you,
Thank
and
you very much.
thanks for your time. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Walk in Faith. Always remember, you have the ability to inspire and evangelize through words and actions. God bless you.